Alright guys, it's Giovanni and would like to show you guys some of the homemade items as well as a few store-bought items that I've collected throughout the semester for my resource kit. And these are all items that I can use for students both for lessons and to help with assessments as well. So we'll just go ahead and get started, and I'll just take it from what I have in front of me and I'll move it to the side and we'll go through the stuff I have. So the first thing that I made here is actually it's a map of the corner of a residential block. So you can see here it's foam board, and I have some artificial turf on top for the grass line and the parkways and the outer and inner shoreline, the inner shoreline. And then this is the sidewalk here in the middle. So it's all tactile, it's high contrast, and then I have here, this is the curb cut, and this is where the wheelchair ramp would be for the residential block. I'll move it to the side. The next one I have is a map of a skewed intersection. Again, foam, it's tactile, high contrast, and the sidewalks are raised above the black, which is the road. And I used puffy paint to create crosswalk lines. And these are yellow, so this could be taught as yellow lines are found near school zones and why that's important for traffic and drivers. And so it's not very pretty, but it was my first attempt. But anywho, skewed intersection, so you see the sidewalks are skewed, and then you wouldn't cross straight. But it's a good tactile model for the students. Next one I have, the famous, infamous T intersection. So again, tactile and high contrast, same with the foam board and the puffy paint. This one with the central dividing line of the streets for the two directions, crosswalk lines for the stem, and then I have here the limit line for the stop sign, assuming this is a stop sign controlled intersection. And there is no crosswalk lines to cross the bar, as those are not as common. So that's a map of the T intersection. I have a map here again of a city grid. So very basic, just the city blocks can be used for address systems, as well as to talk about how streets are laid out, as well as the different corners of various blocks, north, east, southwest, etc., etc. Again, high contrast and tactile. This is the biggest one I have. This is your right leg or plus intersection. And it also is tactile here. I have different types of the central dividing lines, the two central dividing lines, as well as here, which we have for left-hand turners. And I also put braille labels on each of the corners for northwest, northeast, southwest, and southeast. So it's a good way to practice our plus intersection. I also bought, some Hot Wheel cars. And these actually fit nicely within this model. So we can practice, practice lane by lane scanning. We can talk about parallel and perpendicular traffic flow, where cars would turn, why they would turn, and how to be safe while crossing major intersections. And the students can manipulate these cars and show me which way would the cars go, where would they turn, and why it's important to look in certain directions as you cross the intersection. I'll put these away, and while I do that, I'll just mention that making these resource kit things was a challenge for me. I am not very artistic by any means, but it was fun to do so. And thankfully I had help from my mother, who helped me in cutting and gluing things together. And it was kind of nice to just have these little projects to work on. Okay, I'll put this on the side. Now, below that I have, this is just a little cupboard. I don't know what you call this. You put it inside your cupboard so things don't move around. And I have a tray for, sometimes when working with students who are blind, it's easier to keep things contained. So if we're working on something, we can keep it within this tray. For example, I have some cutouts that I made of route shapes, and they're cardboard. so you can feel them, right? So I have, just put it correctly here. Oh, Nora, I'm missing one. Aha. Here it is. Shapes, route shapes. I shape, L, Z, and U. And again, you can keep it within this confined area so that they don't end up all across the table and then the student has trouble locating them. Okay. I'll keep this here for now, it's fine. And then I have this little back scratcher and I glued a tennis ball. And this can be used when assessing students' peripheral vision. So they can stand and I can be off to the side and move it towards the central of their vision from the top, from the bottom, left and right to kind of gauge where they are in terms of their visual fields. Also have here for especially my elementary school kiddos, they get distracted easily, so I made some break cards and I laminated them, and they can use one of these break cards during their lesson, and it gives them choice and agency as to when they want to take a little break. The break is valid for 3 minutes and terms and conditions are subject to change. And then let's see what else I have. I purchased little cones. These are just some soccer cones, if you can see, different colors. And these are very, very bright, and they're good for example, when we want to test for straight line of travel or lower visual fields. And so, or sometimes I place them down, for example, at driveways to signal like this is the beginning of a driveway, you should stop. I have my second grader who will like pick them up and then look in both directions and scan to make sure it's safe to cross the driveway. So these are just some little cones that are helpful with that. And I also bought, goodness, some giant Lego pieces. And same thing, I can place them on the ground to have students pick up. And it's a little more fun than cones. And we can also use them to practice positional concepts, like place the purple Lego above the blue one, place the green Lego to the left, connect a red Lego to the right, etc., etc. So it's just a fun little thing that you can do. And I'm sure there are lots of creative ways to use these Lego pieces. And then I think we're almost wrapping up here. The last thing I have to show you, oh, actually one of the things fell on the floor. Hold on 1 second. I got it. Forgot about these. These are just from Amazon, but they're little wooden signs, and there's like a little traffic light, a what is this one? Speed limit, stop sign, and you can kind of feel the shapes. They're very small, but they're a fun little way to kind of get them introduced to different street furniture and signage. And then we can also place them on, for example, the map. Like, whoa, where would the stop sign go? You might find the stop sign here on the corner. Or there's a traffic light. The traffic light would also be on the corner. And the speed limit sign might be a little further up on the sidewalk, right? So there's like railroad signs, there's parking signs. I forget what else is in here, but it's just a little wooden signs. And lastly, I have some Navi lens coats, and I have them in envelopes by size, so these are a little bit smaller. And then I have these, which are a little bit bigger, right? And Navi Lens is an app that anyone can use, and you can program these codes here. Program the codes to say whatever you want, and then you use your phone to scan them. So for example, if I open up my phone and I go to Navi Lens, I'm gonna put my volume up for you guys. Okay, so if I hold up the code here, it'll find it.
11 inches away, 1.85 inches code blank.
The code
Use
is
the personal note 11
yes,
inches away, 1.85 inches code blank.
So the code
Use
is
the personal note option to complete it.
Yes, ma'am. The code is blank. This one I have programmed. So I already programmed this one. So let's see what this one says.
14 inches away, Metro 40 downtown LA.
Metro 40 downtown LA. So these codes I've used with students to help them with 3-way vertical scanning. I could place them along a hallway head level, mid level, and ground level, and I can code them with like jokes, and they can find all the different jokes, which is always fun. Or for example, this one I programmed with the bus number, and I placed these high up on a pole so that student could practice scanning for and looking for bus signage to know what bus is coming and at what bus stop they are. So that's another idea that I've used these little Navi Lens codes for. And I think that's everything that I have so far. So again, these are just some very, easy to make arts and craftsy resource kit ideas to work with and help my students learn concepts and skills. So thank you so much.